Hello everyone, my name is Yuheng Huang, a student at the Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications. It's really a great honor for me to have this opportunity to present my paper here. The title of my paper is Understanding Misbehavior on the EOSIO blockchain. As this paper focuses on EOSIO blockchain, which may sound unfamiliar to you, let's start with some background. Blockchain technology, to put it in a simple way, is an immutable ledger which allows transactions to take place in a decentralized manner. From Bitcoin to Ethereum, and finally EOSIO, blockchain technology has gone through many revolutions. And nowadays, there exists quite a lot of blockchain platforms. One straightforward question is, among all these platforms, why we choose EOSIO as our research topic? There are multiple reasons for that. First of all, EOSIO has many advantages that other platforms don't have. EOSIO has high performance. Its throughput can be up to 8,000 TPS. In contrast, Bitcoin is around 5 TPS and Ethereum is around 10 TPS. It is a developer-friendly platform. Developers can customize their own EOSIO blockchain to suit their needs. Also, unlike Ethereum, who use Solidity as their programming language, EOSIO supports modern C++, making it much easier to implement smart contracts. Last but not least, EOSIO enjoys great popularity since its launch. It is the largest ICO project up to date. Over $4 billion have been raised to support the blockchain. Also, the number of its DApp transactions, as shown in the figure here, has surpassed Ethereum just 3 months after its launch. All these advantages make EOSIO a promising platform for blockchain technology. Despite all the advantages EOSIO has, little is known about its ecosystem. There exists some negative comments about EOSIO, which has aroused extensive attention. Some criticisms accuse EOSIO of suffering from superficial prosperity. Report had shown that EOSIO has been greatly influenced by bots. Furthermore, recent years we have witnessed many serious attacks against EOSIO. Some reports have shown that EOSIO had millions of dollars lost because of hacker. They can be easily found online. To better develop EOSIO, all this misbehavior should be investigated. However, to the best of our knowledge, no such research has been done before. To fill the gap, we performed the first comprehensive study of the EOSIO blockchain at scale. In our research, we seek to focus on the following 3 research questions. The first research question, we want to conduct a comprehensive investigation of EOSIO. By analyzing the characteristics of account and their transaction behaviors, we want to get a general overview about EOSIO. The second one, we wonder how severe is the presence of bot activities. The libraries of EOSIO is somehow astonishing. We wonder whether the bots play an important role in this or not. The third one, because EOSIO has always been the target for hackers, we seek to build an early warning system that can identify real-world attacks, thus reducing the loss caused by hackers. Before we continue, let me introduce some important concepts about EOSIO. I hope this can help you understand our research better. First of all, if an entity wishes to interact with the EOSIO blockchain, it must first create an account. All interaction involves smart contract. Users can invoke a smart contract through a transaction, which consists of one or more actions to perform. These transactions are executed in EOSIO's virtual machine, and all transactions will be validated and recorded by distributed servers. A smart contract, however, comes from an existing account. Any account with enough resources and a valid code can be turned into a smart contract. Developers can first program C++ source code and then compile them into binary code using tools EOSIO provided. To answer the 3 research questions we raised, we collected data both on-chain and off-chain for further study. On-chain data provide a foundation for analysis, while off-chain data mainly involves label data, which can help us do further analysis. For the on-chain part, we collect both transaction record and account information. Transaction records are collected by custom EOSIO client, while account information is collected by crawlers. We took advantage of both blockchain experts and public API. For the off-chain part, we collect bot accounts, DApp info, and attack info. Bot accounts are useful for bot detection, We collect them both from online dataset and with the help of experts. DApp is the app powered by blockchain. DApp information is useful for attack detection. We collect them by crawling from DApp websites. Attack information is useful for attack detection. We collect the data by monitoring and collecting security news and blogs from well-known blockchain security companies. As a result, we collect over 3 billion actions, 1 million account information, 1,000 DApp accounts, 60,000 bot accounts, and 37 attack accounts in total. To answer our first research question, namely the characteristics of account and their transaction behaviors, we mainly focus on 3 important behaviors on EOSIO, including money transfer, account creation, and contract invocation. Transfer action is used for digital currency transfer. Here, we only pay attention to the official token, namely EOS token. Creation action is used for account creation. Invocation action is used for smart contract invocation. All these actions have one clear similarity. They can all be represented by direct graph. A from to pair with additional information as each attribute can describe the transfer, creation, and invocation actions clearly. So we did the conversion, turning unstructured data to graph structured data. Here, EMFG is corresponding to transfer action, EACG is corresponding to account creation action, ECIG is corresponding to invocation action. All 3 graphs here have timestamp for each age, whose gradularity is 1 day. Based on the 3 graphs we constructed, we have 3 interesting insights about the whole ecosystem of EOSIO. First of all, using the money transfer graph, we analyze the distribution, transfer frequency, and quantity, as shown in the figure. From the figure, we can see that most money transfer via EOSIO are small transfers. The quantity of 90% of all transfers is below 4. And top 0.47 of accounts cover 90% of the total volume. From this result, we can see that although the overall ecosystem shows a promising volume, EOSIO is dominated by a small percentage of accounts. The second insight focuses on account creation. By combining account creation graph and a contract invocation graph, we analyze the account activeness of accounts, as shown in the left figure. From the figure, we can directly conclude that over 30% of accounts are silent and have never initiated any transactions. This is a pretty astonishing result, as creating an account on EOSIO can cost $2 to $7. So the proportion is much higher than we expected. Note that our paper also analyzed the graph structure of account creation graph and made some case studies. However, due to the limited time, we won't cover too much detail here. Please check our paper if you are interested. The third insight focuses on invocations. Using the contract invocation graph, we analyzed the number of contract invocations over time, as shown in the left figure. From the figure, we can see that after 3 months of initial release, the invocation number had a rapid growth. However, despite the large number of contract invocations, a small number of accounts are still much more active than the others. The top 0.01% of accounts perform 80% of contract invocations, while the majority of accounts rarely invoke contracts. Now, we turn to the research question 2, namely bot detection. To characterize bots, we perform a preliminary study of bot activities. By studying the label data from experts, we found 2 insights. The first insight is that controller accounts usually create a large number of children accounts. All these children accounts form a community. Bots in one community behave similarly. To detect bots, we can detect such community first. The second insight is that the behavior of bot accounts has some patterns. Here is an example. This is the figure describing 2 account transfer action. The red one is bot, while the blue one is normal user. We can see that bot account behaves much more regularly than normal users. Based on these 2 insights, we devised 2 complementary detection approach to detect all these bots efficiently. One is to detect bots in community level. We want to find a community whose members behave similarly. The other one is to detect bots from account level. We want to identify bots who behave regularly. Let me introduce community level first. The workflow of community level detection is as follows. First, we use account creation info to build a community. This involves our account creation graph and other on-chain data. And then for each account, we do vectorization. We extract behavior feature from the data we collected. We vectorize account behavior in 2 dimensions. The first dimension is invocation time and frequency, namely when and how often an account invoke contract. The second dimension is contract target, namely the account invoke which contract. The details are shown in our paper. Once we have vector representation, machine learning method could be applied. However, we found a more effective and simple way to classify bot community. We can simply use cosine distance to measure the similarity of account behavior in one community. If the distance is huge, then the similarity is low. Otherwise, the similarity is high and it can be labeled as bot community. And here is the result. We did such calculation for all labeled communities and for both dimensions, as shown in the figure. From the figure, we can find that the cosine distance of all labeled points are in the range between -3 sigma and 3 sigma of the average of their own groups. In this case, we can define a simple threshold for bot detection. For all other communities, those within left lower corner are classified as bots. By doing this, we identified over 351,000 bot-like accounts in total. Beyond the community level, we also did a per account level detection. We extract features from 3 graphs we built earlier. Because of the limited time, we will skip the detail of these features. We then use a random forest classifier to classify the bots. We discover over 30,000 new bots in this way. To validate our results, we next examine the detected bots account by finding their purpose. With manually sample and a semi-automated approach, we confirm the purpose of 86% of bot accounts. The first category is bonus hunter. They exploit incentives in DApps in order to gain profit. Here is an example. A DApp offers free lucky draw every 1 hour. Bots can get used by pressing the button. The second category is click fraud. This kind of bots create fake traffic in order to promote the ranking of creation on DApps. Here is an example. The orange line describes bot creation, and the blue line describes the money one DApp receives. We can see that after a large number of bot creation, these bots immediately transfer enormous sums of money to one DApp to boost its ranking. After that, these bots become nearly silent. And the third category is DApp team. Some DApp use bots to help them test and run the DApp. The fourth category is account sealer. As name of EOSIO accounts are unique, some special names have higher value than normal names. Here is an example. The price of this account is much higher than normal accounts. Others remain uncategorized, as we cannot identify their motivation. However, there are still some features indicating that they're all bots. Like many of them have similar names. As a conclusion, we can say bot-like accounts on EOSIO are indeed prevalent. There are over 381,000 bot accounts detected. Now, we turn to the final research question. In this part, we want to identify real-world security issues. We cover 2 topics in our paper. One is permission misuse, and the other is real-world attacks. In this presentation, we will focus on the latter. By investigating the feature of some already known attacks, we classify them into 2 types: unchecked input attacks and predictable state attacks. These attacks had cost millions of dollars lost. And to build an early warning system to minimize loss, we devise different approaches to detect them. For unchecked input attacks, our detection approach is pattern-based. There are 2 variations of these attacks. One is fake use transfer, and the other is fake use notice. Due to the limited time, I won't cover all details of the attack mechanism. Please check our paper if you are interested. Generally speaking, fake use transfer is that the victim confused official use token with private use token. So hackers use fake use to get real use. Fake use notice is that the victim didn't check whether he actually received the use. These two type attacks could be identified by checking corresponding patterns based on on-chain data. The second attack has 3 variations, and their main target is gamble game. Again, if you are interested in these attacks, please check our paper for more details. It is hard to find a general method to detect all these attacks based on patterns. To detect them all, we devise a feature-based detection method. And the feature of these attacks are as follows. First, although the profit attackers earn varies wildly, their profitability ratio is relatively high. Second, attacks usually happen over a relatively short time. This is quite different to other normal behaviors. Almost all attacks are finished in 1 hour. Some may even in a few minutes. Third, by analyzing the transfer action between attackers and victims, we found that once attacks succeed, they usually do not use the DApp anymore. In other words, attack profit always make up a large proportion of the total volume. This is quite different from normal users. Based on these features, we are able to propose a semi-automated approach to label suspicious attackers' account. We first select the high profitability ratio account from our money transfer graph. Notice that the time granularity for the graph is 1 day. For those suspicious accounts, we then query our database for the detailed action they involved. If they earn their profit in less than a small period, 1 hour for example, we take them as highly suspicious account. We then check their transfer volume with the DApp. If profit makes up a large proportion of the total volume, we then manually analyze these accounts. As previous step has filled out most of accounts and actions, the manual analysis is feasible. One important confirmation method is to replace these attacks. This work is done by our partner, PackShield. In total, we identified over 301 suspicious attack accounts, causing over 1.5 million use losses. We have reported them to the DApp team. 80 of the attacks with over 800,000 use losses have been confirmed by the time of our study. We finally conclude the takeaway message of our paper. For research community, our observations shed light on the attacks in EOSIO and motivate more research efforts to address this issue. Our methodology can be generalized to other blockchain platforms. We also provide the benchmarks and datasets to boost future research in our community. For users and investors, we found that the blockchain bots greatly affect the measurement and understanding of the ecosystem. We have revealed that some aggressive DApps use bots to create fake traffic in order to promote the ranking of them. Our observation could be helpful to users and potential investors. For DApp teams and regulators, we have reviewed the severity of bonus hunter accounts and designed methods for DApp developers to identify them. We further developed an effective monitoring system to detect attacks, which could help developers to trace losses. Our research efforts have been acknowledged by over 80 DApp teams. This is the end of my presentation. Any kind of collaboration is welcome, and you can contact us if you have any questions. We also publish our dataset here. You can check them as you wish. Thanks for your attention.